Not read yet, but there we are.
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to welcome everyone here today to the September 1st Planning Commission meeting. At this time, I would ask Mr. Slade to give us the invocation.
Let's pray. Father, as always, we start today, we start our time together here acknowledging that we are thankful and grateful for your presence with us and asking that you would, Father, provide the wisdom and the discernment that these men will need as they consider this, the county, as they think about what's in the best interest of all the citizens, as they think about how important it is that they lead effectively, that they provide stability, that they be thoughtful, Lord, about everyone's interests, that we think about and look around at situations that we encounter here in this county each and every day, and how blessed and fortunate we are to have the men and women who serve so effectively, and how grateful we need to be, Lord. All of that comes from you, and we thank you. I pray, Father, that as they use the wisdom and the discernment that you give them today, that, Father, they will be pleased, that you will be pleased, that they will feel satisfied that they've done what you've called them to do. In Christ's name, amen.
Thank you, Mr. Slade. All right. Guess considerations and approval of the July 28 minutes.
So move.
Motion made by Mr. Morrison. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Gaines. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. Any old business, Mr. Renee?
There isn't any old business.
All right. Move on to new considerations.
All right, so the only item we have today is a county-initiated rezoning request on Andrew Chapel Road. The county is seeking a zoning change from RE1 to I2 for 2 parcels on Andrew Chapel. The parcels total 172.44 acres. Both of these properties are owned by 7 States Timberland. Both of the properties have access to the railroad. They also are across on the opposite side of Andrew Chapel from some I2 zoning. The CO2 gas plant is on the opposite side of Andrew Chapel. Both parcels are in close proximity to Highway 80 and Interstate 20. And we think that there's a need for more industrial zone property along the Highway 80 and Interstate 20 corridor. So this is the entrance to that property. And then these are surrounding properties. Well, these are just pictures of the highway and all, but these are surrounding.
Hey, Miss Renee, on that piece of property right there, I had some calls on it, and I need to do some more research on it. Is there any way we could, and that's not my district, I know, I'm maybe getting ahead of Gaines, but I'd like to look at it for a little longer. I'm not real sure on that just yet. I've got to do a few more things looking at it, but
It's not quite ready to set the public
I know it's your
hearing.
area, so I know it's just setting a public hearing, but I'm not ready to do that just yet on my end. But
If
it's your
we have
area, so
people that want to speak, I would like to hear from them also. I mean, if they're here.
Is anyone here to speak on this matter, on the rezone Andrew Chapel?
All
I would just like to table it.
You
It's
want to
just
table
me.
it, just-
That's what I'd like to do. It's
Well-
your area, but
right. Yeah, I understand.
I just
that.
want to look at it. a little
I've
bit.
had a couple of calls also, and I think it would be good if we can have a little time, more time. Sometimes people don't hear about this until it's nearly the date, and I would like to get out and meet these property owners each. So I'll second that motion to table it.
What I would suggest is that we table it until the next planning commission, which is going to be at the end of September, Renee.
9/29.
Okay, table it
All
to
right.
September the 29th, and that way you don't have to remember to bring it off the table.
All right, so we got a motion to table it by Mr. Cross, second by Mr. Gaines. Any further discussion? Not, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. All right, motion carried. All right, site plan, architect review.
All right, the site plan architectural review is for Green Earth Products, 648 Highway 469 North. That property is located on the east side of Highway 469 North. It's a 2.5 acre parcel, zone C2. They're proposing a 420 square foot addition for a break room and an office. This is just their site plan showing the distance from the property lines. And then in this one, you can see the addition will be here. There's an existing slab already here that was poured when that building was built. These are the elevations. The new building, or the new addition, will match the existing building in materials and colors. That's a view of the building. And you can see the slab there where that addition will be going. And these are just surrounding properties.
Just sitting way back off the road, I don't have a problem with it. I make the motion to approve.
All right, motion to approve by Mr. Morrison. I'll second myself. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carried. All right, Mr. Slay.
Yes, sir. The first item under the nuisance property hearings is the Kim and Anthony May nuisance property at 340 Louise Lane. This is District 3. We'll open that public hearing. I will ask for anyone, either the Mays or anyone on their behalf who intends to speak to the board, would be prepared to come forward. Renee will demonstrate with the photos.
All right, so these pictures were taken on May 17th. We had gotten a complaint about grass and rubbish and debris. And then these are the new pictures. They were taken on Tuesday afternoon.
If you would, just state your name and your address.
Anthony May. I used to live over at 340 Louise Lane. I've moved since then.
Is anybody living there at this
Not
time? Currently, is
No.
it going to be rental property or?
That's what I was planning on it for and everything, and I've got a whole bunch of stuff to clean up and everything. I didn't know y'all had been sending summons to me. Somebody knocked over my mailbox there, like after I'd moved out. It's in the ditch. I didn't even know it was missing. You know what I'm saying? By the time I got my address forwarded to my new address, I'm on my final notice with it, this scheduled and everything, and had about 5 days to knock out what I could. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
I mean, do you have further plans on picking debris and getting it?
Oh yeah,
hauled
yeah.
off?
I'm making burn piles and such like that, but I got caught in a thunderstorm. Basically at that point it kept raining on me.
Yeah.
But I didn't get y'all's. I think I'd called Miss Kathy like day one when I finally received, and by the time she said they'd sent out 2 other notices beforehand. I never got them. Like I said, by the time I got my mailbox swapped over to my new address, I'm on my final notice, and here I am standing
Right.
before y'all.
Yeah. That looks like you tried.
I mean,
No,
you've made progress as far as cutting the bushes back. And I mean, one thing you need to know, we're not out riding looking for property. People call us complaining. So you got someone that lives out there or multiple people that are calling us, wanting us to get to the bottom of it and see what's going on. So
Well, that and I had to go
I
buy
just
a new
encourage you
lawnmower.
to
The one I got
continue.
out front, the deck fell off of it, so I had to go purchase a new lawnmower trying to get this done.
All right.
I would say that we just simply reflect that there's no action taken. We'll table any action on it and give it back to community development to monitor and make sure that within the next 30 to 60 days, it's able to be closed as a closed file. That's what I would suggest that we do.
All right. Then we need a motion
Motion
on
to
that.
table. Yes, sir.
I'll make a motion to table this, and Kathy
Second.
just monitor it for me.
Second.
Second by Mr. Morrison. Any further discussion? Not, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign.
Appreciate you.
Hey, Brad, I was going to tell you, he's got a shirt on. The last time I played a video game, I was 12 years old. But that's a Nintendo console
I
game. I
understand
mean,
what
these
that
kids
is.
have this little device now that's got all these little kind of crazy buttons.
Yeah.
And I don't play them, obviously, but So the last time I played, he saw that up there, and I got teary-eyed because that's the last time I played a video game. I was 12 years old, and that was a Nintendo. Just came out.
Yeah.
I don't, what was it called? Nintendo.
I was
Thank you very much, Keith. You were playing Nintendo 64 was what it was. But
I
that's
was
the
an
device.
Atari
But
man.
do you see how much more simple it is now in these days? It's just got like a little cross right there, and it's just 2 buttons.
Yeah.
So you can just kind of let the. I hadn't played one since,
Every
so
console I've ever had since I was a kid.
I'm with you.
Yeah, when I was my youngest.
Thank you, buddy.
Hey, just continue to do what you can on the place, okay?
I will do.
Sorry about that.
Hey, no
buddy.
problem.
He broke my concentration with that shirt.
I mean, I played Atari. I didn't have a Nintendo.
That's all right.
I didn't play either one of them.
My parents were too cheap to buy the
Right.
Atari. I played whatever J.C. Penney came out with.
Well, I played my buddies. It wasn't mine. You know what I mean? So.
We had a garden.
All right, let's move on to number 2.
Item 2 is, if it wasn't said, the May public hearing is closed. We'll open a hearing now on the Shirley Evans nuisance property at 209 Pear Lane. This is District 1 property. Miss Evans or anyone on her behalf should be prepared to come forward. We'll let Renee demonstrate with the photos.
All right, so we received a complaint on this property. It's really been an ongoing complaint, but the latest one was on August the 1st. These were old pictures that were taken on the previous complaint in April about garbage and an unacceptable container for garbage.
Where's the garbage?
Well, it's not in this picture. You can't see it.
Oh, I know where you're talking about.
But this is on Pear Lane.
Yeah, I got you.
And so these new pictures were taken on the 30th. There is a new tenant there. Miss Evans did receive the mail and has talked with Kathy, but she says there's a new tenant there. Kathy instructed her that she needed to make sure she had appropriate containers with lids so the garbage couldn't be scattered. And I'm not sure if she's here today or not.
This has been ongoing, but I mean, it's just keeping it cleaned up.
So,
We need it now.
just to clarify for the board, this is it's a rental property situation. It's a private drive.
Yeah.
The residents there bring their solid waste as close as they can get it to the public road. It will sit inevitably on the private property instead of out in the public right of way. And so you have dogs and other varmints
Right.
that get into the trash when it's not properly contained. And so because it's rental property, you've got tenants that have to be educated about appropriate receptacle and all that other kind of stuff. And so we get constant reminders from property owners in the vicinity that we need to make sure that the tenants understand what they need to do. So
Mr.
this is
Slade,
a-
can I say one thing? I had that same issue on Collinwood on 468, and I went and we sent them a letter, but I went out and spoke with them, and they all come together and they built like a wood picket fence around it where it had hinges on the front. Put your garbage in there and they can close it up and keep the critters out. So it's worked out good and everybody seems to be happy about that. I mean, it might be something.
If you get them to do it, right, join
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think in this situation, the common area where the solid waste is collected is actually on one fellow's property.
It
Okay,
is.
and so it's going to be a little bit of a unique situation to try to get it rectified. I believe that Miss Evans, who has received the notification, is actually the property owner. And so she would be the landlord. She doesn't live there. And so it's a situation where the tenants have to be educated. It looks like, at least as of yesterday or 2 days ago,
Tuesday.
we don't have an issue, but I'm confident it's going to resurface again. What I'd like to do is just simply make a notification here that to the extent that we find debris, that we find solid waste scattered in this area, or it's brought to our attention, that we will, again, request that we identify the tenant that it appears is the one that's struggling to get into compliance so that we can have the tenant come. I don't think it's going to do us any good to continue to communicate with the landlord, other than just simply to remind, please make sure your tenants know. But it'd be better if we could deal directly with the tenant.
Is it all one owner?
Yeah.
looks like there's,
About
She
four.
owns two
there's
properties.
4 or 5 different addresses that are involved. When we get notified that there's a problem, we're told it could be 203, it could be 207, it could be 209. That,
Yeah.
Are
It's
they
un-
property owners?
no, so they're gonna all be renters, Steve.
Who is is it one property owner?
Miss Evans is the one that has the rental properties.
She has all three
plural.
of them?
I think she does.
Oh, really?
Well, she,
Huh.
Why don't we just have her build something and to take care of it?
We
Well-
will, well, here's the problem. I think those rental properties are not,
That's
their
right.
boundaries do not touch the
They don't.
area where the solid waste is left.
They don't, Jay, that's a private road, they got access to get back there to them, but the, gentleman owns, he owns up there, he's the one.
His mother.
Yeah, right.
well, to me, I would think he would want something built up there to keep the
Gotta build
trash.
something
Yeah.
else. Never mind, all right. Impossible situation.
I think you're right.
All right.
But I would like to at least deal with the tenants directly, to see if we could get some better compliance with our solid waste receptacles and when we put it out, so that we have less exposure to varmints. It's a recurring
It
problem.
is all over,
Yeah.
I'm surprised really waste management doesn't make you put it in a,
Container.
something
Well, I
container
think what
with a
we're
lid.
doing here today is we're trying to avoid the accusation that we're not willing to do anything.
No,
And
I
so
agree.
we've had our public hearing, and y'all have discussed it, and I'm satisfied with just showing that no
Right
action is
now-
taken.
Right now it's clean.
Yes, sir.
If the owner really wanna do something, they can build a little box out there for them, so.
And the private property owner is welcome to take the matter to the next level himself, should he choose to do so.
All right.
Okay,
So no action taken.
No action taken on item 2. Item 3, Mr. President, we're prepared to move forward. We'll show item 2's public hearing is closed. Item 3 is the Bjorley Johnson nuisance
Valerie,
property.
it's Valerie.
Valerie nuisance, Johnson nuisance property at 192 Floyd Street, that's District 1. We'll open that public hearing. I'll ask Ms. Renee to demonstrate with the photos. Ms. Johnson or anyone on her behalf is welcome to step forward.
All right, so these pictures were dated May 2nd. This has been an ongoing complaint as well. The certified mail was sent and Ms. Johnson did receive the mail.
Morning.
She's been in contact with Kathy. These are the new, well, these pictures were taken in July 22nd. And then these are the new pictures that were taken on Tuesday afternoon.
If you don't mind, state your name and your address.
Valerie Johnson, 192 Floyd Street, Florence, Mississippi, 39073.
All right, thank you.
I don't know what to say, Valerie, you know, it's been going on and on, and it's not gonna end, and
Well, I've got a bunch of people gonna come up and help me clean it if y'all give me an extension,
yeah.
but my yard's a mud puddle.
Huh?
I mean, my yard is a mud puddle. Anytime it rains,
But Valerie, it's not always been a mud puddle. And we've been dealing with this for, I don't know how many years, and then it gets a little better, and then it gets back worse. It's a situation that, the people in the community are just not gonna tolerate, and they are hounding us to death. And they, and I understand their problem, and I understand some of your problem, but,
if you'll give me an
just a
extension.
minute, you'll have a chance.
I'm sorry.
But we've given you extension after extension, and you know, anyway, it comes back to the same thing. And you had other people try to, same story, so I mean, I really don't know what the answer is. I'm leaning toward legal counsel to what to do, because, you know,
Has it already been declared a nuisance?
how many years?
Seen it, Jessica?
Yeah. We've done that. We don't seem to be able to get,
I can
to
make
get
this
any
short.
traction.
Why don't we just declare it, and that would give her 30 days
Well, we've
while it's
already
in the
declared.
process? Oh, it's declared now?
It's been declared.
Before? but it's not in motion. I
Yeah.
mean, well, that's a suggestion. We declare it as a nuisance, and that puts the motion in
To go to justice
forward
court.
gear. You'll have about 30 days to make significant improvements. If not, you'll be going up to the next building. And Jared, I'm not
Yeah,
trying to.
no, I mean, I don't know what else to do, and that's guess what we're sitting here talking about, and I mean, any suggestions? I'm asking
Yes.
legal counsel, I'm asking anybody, because, and to be all honest, you got to say that we have worked with you, and this has been going on for years and years, and we'll get a little better, then it gets way back worse.
Where I think this may be, gentlemen, is really beyond the scope or the purview of this board's jurisdiction. This has become a life safety issue. It's a habitability issue. It has trappings of something that the Chancery Court needs to be cognizant of. We may be aiming in the direction of some type of guardianship, some type of conservatorship situation where decisions that need to be made, access to property, what needs to leave, what needs to be bundled up and put into a dumpster, those need to be decisions, if I could suggest it this way, that the Chancery Court needs to address as opposed to the property owner. You do not have a mechanism available to you to initiate that. That's going to have to come from probably the court itself, possibly law enforcement, possibly a visit by either EOC, possibly to look at the life safety issue. I'm looking at Mike Word, he's not listening, but that if there is a life safety issue, if there's a health and safety issue here, that presents the potential for a public safety issue. We might could have access that way and then advise both law enforcement and the Chancery Court what the details are, what the facts are. We've had a few examples where this has happened in the past. I don't know if you guys remember the situation where we had someone that actually, they died in the residence and were left for weeks. That is a public health safety issue, right? And so this is approaching that situation where we simply are not able to determine what we're doing, why the property looks the way that it does, why it gets better and gets worse and gets better and gets worse. We just don't have the capacity to understand that, I believe. And so this has probably gotten to a public health, potentially a public health issue that we then need to get the assistance from either law enforcement or the court itself involved. So,
Is someone living here? Are you nobody's living on property?
No, I haven't been there for 3 months.
Yeah, so nobody's even living there.
I'd like to have work
There
done
was
to
a
my-
gentleman back here wanted to say something.
yeah, we're it's
If
If you'd
totally
like
up
to
to the board.
come on up, sir, and
Totally up to
state
the
your
board.
name and
Name and address.
address.
I'm Elliot Donald, 1817 Highway 469 South, Harrisville, Mississippi, 39082. All I was gonna say was, I just come back, she moved in with me. Me and my father's trying to clean that property up. As you've seen the bush hog, they didn't take a picture of the tractor. I got the tractor
Saw the
out
bush
yesterday.
hog,
Yes, sir. And if you give me just a little bit of time, she ain't going back. That's gonna be mine. So I'm cleaning the property out. I'm gonna put a new trailer there.
Yeah.
You just,
What do you mean by clean it out?
I'm bush hogging it. I'm getting the stuff moved out. I'm clearing the property completely off.
I mean, you're gonna need to get a dumpster.
What's your
probably.
description of cleaning it completely off? You tearing the house down?
I was gonna go see if they could pull the trailer out. you know, as a repo deal.
Huh?
But you know, you go to the trailer place.
Yeah.
They'll take that trailer. If not, yes, sir. That's what we'll do. We're gonna clean it out and tear it down.
Where's there a trailer out there? That's a trailer?
It's a double wide trailer.
Okay, well,
Yes, sir.
from the front, it looks like the eave.
Yeah,
of a
okay.
No,
porch.
sir. it's
That's
a-
what threw, I got you.
Yes, sir.
From that view, it looks like the eave of a front.
But when I
house.
got my tractor down there, I mean, if it would've showed the pictures, we was able to work one day with the tractor and that storm come in. I mean, that was me. I couldn't get it over there in time.
Right.
But if you give me just, it ain't gonna take me very long. I mean,
All right.
everything works
Yeah, so
out.
an acceptable solution here that avoids what I went all the way through before I found out at the end that she's not living on the property anymore. That, the fact that she's not living there can solve the problem of additional stuff coming onto the property. That's been the problem all
Now,
along.
let's hang on, you listen to this,
Yeah.
listen up.
So an acceptable solution to end this nuisance consideration is trailer's gone, all the debris gone, all the vegetation is cut. It needs to be slick and clean. We don't need anything on that property. That's including the double wide. It needs to go. Go, gone, out of here. And I would say 60 days just to get us enough room to make that clear and then refer it up to justice if it doesn't happen.
I think, and I'm gonna have to agree with him, what he's saying, by clearing the lot, that means clean. We want it to be I mean, really, you can look at that, look, it's got to be a clean, clear lot that our people are gonna say, yes. But the other thing, on the legal side, can he do all this unless it's deeded to him?
She gives him permission to go and clean everything
Okay, but
up.
I'm trying to
I'm
make
good.
him he'll be responsible then. I don't want you to start and then stop and it falls back on you. See what I'm saying, Valerie?
I'll take all responsibility.
You're committed to
Yes, sir.
get it cleaned up.
Yes, sir.
All right.
You see what I'm saying? I don't want you to say,
understand.
well, hey, man, this is more than I want to do.
Well-
And it falls right back on you, Valerie.
I know, but I got her.
Okay.
Taking care of her. I got the property.
Okay.
Well,
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna let the man be good to his
I
word.
appreciate
Yeah.
you doing that. We're gonna take you to word, and I am.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All
Okay.
right, we got somebody else wants to make a comment on this property. Come forward, sir.
All right.
State your name.
My name is Eric Vasquez. I live at 190 Floyd Street, directly next door to this. It's all fine and great if they can get it cleared. I have a number of concerns for that. One is the bridge that goes across there.
Yeah.
It's telephone poles, and with the last little flood that we had through there, has shifted it completely. There's not a safe way to move back and forth across that. I know this for a fact. Anybody can come out there and look at it. So my concern is, that's gonna have to be addressed first. You're giving them 60 days. Condition of that property, 60 days. That's, for me, I don't see it happening. The young man may have it in him.
Just hang on.
I just don't know.
Okay, well,
And
guess what?
this is tearing my property values down.
And I agree, and I agree, but you've heard what we've said here.
Yes, sir, I have.
And I don't really know much else we can do. We can't go in there and just, that's something we can't do. And so I think this is as close as we're gonna get to get started on it. They'll have to move forward. I don't know, legal counsel can tell me, is there anything else
But
that
at
we
what
can do?
point do we stop and say,
Okay, but. we stop
and then that's
say-
where I want to get to.
I guess if we stop and say, okay, then what, we're not gonna be able to go in and clear it up.
Well, this is our best chance to make it happen.
Yeah.
If we have someone willing to do it, you know, we need to give them a chance to make
See,
it
the
happen.
county's not, I don't think this board is gonna pay. for
Then what would be
clean.
our next step?
You have the right to ask the court to help you on the basis of your claims involving your property. The board's not going to do that. You're welcome to take
Well,
it to
that's
court
why I'm asking, what
yourself.
would be my next step?
Get with an
Because I understand
attorney.
y'all are only able to do so much, and I
Right,
get
and
that.
that's what I'm trying to get you to see. I think you recognize, first off, that ditch that runs through that whole, all that property over there, all of,
Oh, yeah, I've got their trash in my yard right
No,
now.
what I'm saying, that ditch is not unfortunately, all those crossings are not our responsibility. That's
Oh,
the way that was
that I know.
designed. So you're right, that is a problem. But that's a problem everybody down through there has. So yes, he recognizes that, obviously. If he's gonna get anything in there, he's gonna have to fix that. If he's gonna get the junk out of there, he's gonna have to fix that. So you're right, everything you're saying is right. It's going to be a bridge of some type, or it's gonna be something there.
Let mobile home go across that bridge.
No.
I mean,
No,
is it
that's
on the
not-
other
that's-
side?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
No,
I think
that
it's
bridge
gonna
right
come
now
out
is
piece
actually
by
3
piece,
telephone poles
right.
laid
Okay.
across with 2x6s.
I remember when
that
they
got
put it
floated
in,
up
and
out
that's
there.
where she could walk in. I remember that.
Well, I
I
mean,
think this is all we can do, and that's what I wanted. I'm glad you're here. I know you're the neighbor, and I understand that you having to deal with a lot of things, but I think you can see this is as close as we have to the board. We're not gonna be able, the county and the tax dollars are not gonna be able to go up and just spend the money to clear that. I don't think I'll ever get them convinced to do that. And with that being said, the same problem will be how will we get in and out? You know, so it's a real problem.
So if they're not able to clear it out, we got that 60-day window. They're not able to do it.
that's when he'll go to the Justice Court.
That's when we're gonna look
Board
at.
will take it up.
We're,
Then the
we're
board-
going out further than we, just stay with us. In 60 days, there'll be some action, one way or the other.
Yeah.
And when it goes to the justice court, the judge has a lot more latitude.
Which I understand, there's steps they have to go through.
Yeah.
Let us, to be legal, to where we're not overstepping our boundaries, let us offer them what the law allows.
It's just, I've been dealing with it for 5 years.
I know you have.
understand,
That's
but-
really not, you heard what I
And so
said.
you can understand my frustration
I
at
do.
this
I
point.
totally do. And I think that you have our promise that we're gonna monitor this. It's gonna get cleaned up or it's gonna go to the judge. Don't you say, Jared, is that where you're at?
Oh, yeah, I mean, I'm with you, and that's what I was trying to explain to Valerie. I mean, this is not something we're gonna just let pass, because it's been going on for years. And it get a little better, then it get worse, and it get better, and it's back worse. But
It's a
this
seesaw.
gentleman here understands, he's shaking his head, and he's agreeing back here, everything you're saying, he's agreeing that he understands this is what's gonna have to happen. Now, I agree, and I think he knows he's gotta fix a way to get across it. Otherwise, he can't even get his own, a trailer in there or that one out. We understand that.
Right.
And he's shaking his head and agrees there, so that's all I can really go by. And we're giving him this opportunity to move forward. Now, I know we've had the unusual rain in August, I understand that. But I'm expecting him to do just what he said, and we're gonna hold him to it, and if not, it's falling back, like I say, going on to the court, and it's probably gonna get a little stronger than just like you heard
Yes.
the council say.
Yes.
So, I'm glad you're here, I think you hear that we're doing everything possible.
Oh, that's why I wanted to be here.
Yeah, I know.
Thank you.
But
And you know, I
appreciate it.
mean, it's been said several times, this is really neighbor-driven, and you're driving it, keep pushing. I would.
Not
I
stopping.
don't blame you a bit. I don't blame you a bit, or the others that are around there. I know there's the whole little area there has had a problem, and I've heard from every one of them. And so that's why we're here, and really put the foot down, and we're gonna have to do something, because we've tried this other avenue, it's not working. So I'm glad you stepped up, so now it's all on you. Okay, you make sure they got your name and number.
All right.
First, like, let's not forget that is a public road right there, so when they start getting stuff out, we don't need to enter the public road
Can't tear the road up.
process. Getting
How you
stuff
gonna
out.
tear the roads up? Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, they get across the creek and leave it there. then-
No, he ain't gonna do that. Huh?
Yeah, right.
All right, come up
Come here
here.
if you got a quick solution. Wait just a minute. All right.
I didn't say that.
When he was taking pictures of me, the other neighbors is with me. And I went straight through the woods with my truck. That bush hog ain't there. I've got a path now. I will put a bridge up, but for right now, I can get on and off that property.
Well, that's good.
Yes, sir. You know what I'm
You
saying?
got a way in and out?
I went around and talked to folks. I'm trying to clean it up. Like I said, she ain't going back.
Okay,
She's with me.
okay.
But I will clean it up. I don't appreciate, there's a no contact order right here and them hollering at me. Don't appreciate that. I wish you would
All right,
stop.
we're not getting into that.
All right.
Hey, just about stop that one.
Was
There's none in place.
Look, we're not even going there.
All right,
Okay.
thank you.
We thank everybody for working with us.
Gentlemen, thank you.
Everybody, huh? Yeah, y'all can go now. Yeah.
Mr. President, I think the motion would be to go ahead today and declare it a nuisance.
Paul, you might want to walk out there. Paul. You're already pointing fingers.
Mr. President, I think we would have a motion to go ahead and declare it a nuisance. Jared, I think you want to wait on moving it up for
That's
a period of
right, I
60
do.
days. So the motion would be to declare it, yet hold it for 60 days until we are able to
We're gonna
evaluate
stay
where
on
we
it.
are.
And do we have that young man's number?
Yes, sir.
All right, you gonna make that motion?
Yeah. I make the motion to declare it a nuisance, stay on it, hold it, stay on it for 60 days. And,
Reevaluate that.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
evaluate,
One more
see
time.
where we are.
And I'll second that motion.
Do we have his number? His number? You have his contact? I just stay straight on him. Well, that's the reason I was asking about him getting deeded that property where we put on him.
Yes, sir.
All right, any further discussion on this matter?
No.
Not all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. All right.
Mr. President, the next two items, 4 and 5, I just wanted to help the board understand what those are. Those are actually reviews. These are not nuisance considerations. We placed them here so that we would have a kind of a platform to be able to have discussions about these issues. But I didn't want the board to appreciate these as actual nuisance considerations. The first one is Ashley Howie property review at 314 Winterfield Court. I'll ask Ms. Howie and any others who are going to be discussing things in this particular matter to step forward. We're going to do we have photos on that? Okay. So Ms. Howie, is she here? Okay. It's going to be kind of hard to have a discussion
I know.
without our.
Is anybody from the Greenfield Station?
Association by chance? Okay. All right, that's going to be interesting. So let me just educate you on what this is about. Ms. Howie's property is situated inside the Greenfield Station subdivision. This is in Brad's district. It's been in place now. This subdivision has been under development activity for the better part of 10 years, if not longer. So it's a developed subdivision. Her house is situated, as reflected on the plat, immediately adjacent to what is a private drainage easement reserved by the developer on the plat. Okay? The issue at her property is that it appears that the drainage infrastructure that is inside that private drainage easement has either collapsed or has become completely clogged. And so the homeowners association, which has been deeded or transferred to them the responsibility for all common areas of the subdivision development, has not yet undertaken any action to remove the impediment to the stormwater. It is believed that in addition to that, a contractor at some point, probably the person that built the house that Ms. Howie lives in, actually was not real careful when they installed the sewer service to Ms. Howie's residence and may have nicked, cut, otherwise bored through the drainage infrastructure itself. And so what you now have is stormwater is able to travel along that sewer pipe and is now causing backups inside of her house. So
But
it's a serious
she had to
issue.
move out.
It's a serious issue that is not the county's responsibility. Ms. Howie is not taking the position that anything to do with private property has anything to do with this Board of Supervisors. But she is begging for help because she can't seem to get anyone from the homeowners association to agree that even her own contractors, who she would hire at her own expense to come in and correct her problems, could have access to that private drainage easement that belongs to the HOA. So our effort was to get both parties here to the table and see if we could get them to agree one with the other that somebody's going to take responsibility for this and somebody is going to allow other service providers to access that private property.
And they might have got it resolved already.
It's possible that it's
I
been
don't know.
resolved, Brad. We can always hope.
Nobody's here, so.
So here's the issue for us. It's not our deal. We're trying to be helpful to these folks. Ms. Howie obviously is struggling and needs some kind of help. Her other option, and one that's been counseled to her, is that she hire her own attorney and that she take the matter to court and have the HOA brought to court to explain why it is that they can't seem to either take care of it themselves or allow her access to that property to be fixed. You can understand her contractors are not willing to go on somebody else's property
Certainly.
and dig holes and dig up infrastructure without their permission. And so you've got an impasse here that's just problematic. It
Real,
needs to be
real
addressed.
neighborly.
Yeah,
Has
So-
she contacted HOA, Brad?
yes.
Why will they not let her do it?
I don't know.
The HOA is saying it's county's
Yeah,
responsibility.
that's always handy.
That's the stance that,
To do what? To fix her drainage, her storm, her sewer?
Every HOA in this county believes that all stormwater infrastructure in the subdivision belongs to the county. If it's in an unincorporated county,
yeah.
and that has always been an issue, Jay.
Well,
If
I
it's
mean, I
out,
get the stormwater,
Yeah.
but the whole sewer issue is what I don't understand how they think it's our responsibility.
no one has been able to determine precisely what the sewage problem is, what the cause is. Till that's investigated, we're making guesses as to why it's backing up. It's
Would it-
total guess.
Would it be okay to go ahead and send this to justice court, or do we need to just,
Well,
I mean, being no
we didn't-
parties here?
Yeah, Brad, we didn't stand this up as a nuisance consideration, and we didn't go through our process to invite, this was an informal opportunity to get it resolved.
Right.
All right,
I hate that they didn't bother to show up.
I do too.
So I think the next step for us, Brad, if you choose, is that we actually stand this up as a nuisance consideration and that we formally invite the HOA to appear at a nuisance consideration. And we could do that at the next planning commission.
Okay.
Wow. It'll be a long
And I'll
time.
help Ms. Renee with that.
So we're gonna call the HOA as a nuisance?
Yes, sir. Their
It'll be a long-
refusal,
she's
their
gotta deal with this a
refusal
long
to
time,
tend to
though.
their own responsibility.
And they
It's
might have
creating a
it
nuisance.
resolved now, I don't know. They-
Okay.
It could be resolved. All right, so we just not gonna take any action? on
There's
that?
no action to take on that one. That was just a review matter. The second one is also a review matter. This one would be looked at in the context of our development ordinance and in the context of our zoning ordinances, both. This is the Paul and Rachel Purser property review at 759 Aldridge Drive. I believe we've got a number of subdivision residents who are here.
This is on Max Road.
Yes. And I know that Mr. Purser came, I don't see Mr. Purser.
He's not here today.
Okay, neither the husband nor the wife are here.
Yeah, Mr. Slade, let me jump in on that real quick, and I'm glad you guys came. I know I've gotten several emails from you guys. And I'll tell you Daniel's stance on the front side, and we'll kind of let it join in with the rest of the board members. But these type of small homes and things that are out there are just not what we need in that area. This is a really nice area of the county where some beautiful homes are. Y'all's properties are really nice. I'm very familiar with the whole area. We were against it when it came in. How it got to the state it got here right now, I don't know. The county didn't give them permission to come in. They just came in and set their stuff. It may have came in with the idea people were maybe thinking somebody was putting a storage unit. One, on these smaller, tiny houses, I'm totally against them. One, from the life safety issue of it. Two, for the property value side of it. And you can kind of figure out which one goes which spot. But these type of things to put people inside of, to me, are fire traps. All right? It just drives me insane to think of it. But I don't agree with the small homes in this area of the county for sure. I don't believe they should be in Rankin County, period, but especially in one of these high residence areas where y'all's property values could be affected by these things. So from our perspective, I guess Mr. Slay or Ms. Renee can kind of tell you where we're at as far as the item being there. But as far as approving that as a residence, or if it's one of these VRBO rental type deals, I'm not going to vote to support any of that kind of stuff. That's not kind of what we're here to do on that side. Now, I've been known to lose votes up here pretty easy, so it's very, we'll let these other guys weigh in on their views of the side of it. But these aren't the things that I think we need in this area. So where we go from here and how we move forward to it, I'll let so if anybody has any disagreements with me or your views, or if you agree with what I say, we can short stream the process as far as the conversations. I want to give you the ability to speak, but if you're in favor of it, then I'd probably like to ask you to speak at that point if you're in favor of it. Okay, so
All right.
these are most of y'all, and I'm gonna just make the assumption without knowing each of y'all directly. I know several of your faces on that same point. I know you're close to that. Does everybody live in the proximity of the Alders Drive residence? I mean, that's kind of where y'all all are. Okay.
We are all members of Aldridge Estate.
Okay. Oh, right there in the area.
Also have a petition here
Sure.
signed by every resident
Yeah.
on the street
And hit.
against
Yeah.
doing.
Perfect. So if you wouldn't mind, maybe just drop that off. We'll put that in our file on the records just to have it there. I don't know that we need it, but obviously it's there. That's great.
We got it now.
so-
We'll let the record reflect that the petition's
Sure.
been received and made a part of the minutes of this proceeding.
Yep. All right. So maybe Mr. Slater, Mr. Renee, you can kind of tell us where we are with the property being there or the structure being there.
Okay, so,
I think it's important, I'm sorry, Renee, that, just to set the groundwork of where we are, the gentleman has done all of this construction activity that are depicted in these pictures that y'all see in the neighborhood. He has done all of that without any permit of any kind. So he's in violation of county regulations from day one because he started construction activity without a permit. Okay? When we were made aware that he had started the construction activity without a permit, we issued a stop work order, and that has been posted, which means that no additional activity can take place until the board has addressed the issue of permit. He is not going to get a permit to do what he has put before us to do. So, what is the next step? I think we will find out here shortly what the next step is. Ms. Ray, do you have anything to add to what I just said? Okay. Gentlemen, I think where we are, and this is a review, I think where we are is that the board, through its authority, would instruct the Office of Community Development to do either a formal notification to Mr. Purser that everything that has been started has to be removed, or, if the board chooses, simply instruct Ms. Renee to go immediately up to Justice Court and swear out an affidavit that the gentleman has violated the regulations, has failed to get the permit beforehand, and allow the court then to handle how this situation is dealt with. You can do it informally through a notification letter under Ms. Renee's authority to do that. And more than likely, I would suggest let me send the notification letter as board counsel, instructing him to completely remove all construction. It needs to be removed.
I think from listening to him last time, he's got this in several places. He's doing it across the central Mississippi area, maybe some homes to rent and stuff like that. And I believe that he'll come in and remove the stuff as he's instructed to do. I'd like to give him that opportunity on the front side. But I don't want to give it a long time frame either. I don't want to draw this out. So if we can say maybe 30 days or 15 days to have this stuff removed, I know the weather, it's probably good 30 days to give him time to get in and have this stuff removed out of that area.
Start a
Right?
nuisance and give it, and then just don't send it up.
Yeah, so we're not in a nuisance, we're not in a nuisance consideration.
Area.
This is
We haven't
just
set a
where-
hearing for that. Yeah, so, but nuisance isn't it? So, I mean, I would just like to notify him and take that route.
Yes, sir.
So,
Steve.
Can we, being not everybody, but a lot of people are here, just for the record, can we have one person that's a spokesperson or whatever, just put it in the record that, I mean, pretty much affirming that they support Daniel, and here is our petition, to where maybe if it goes up further, they could have the tape or minutes or.
I think that's.
Can I add something before Walt?
Only one, no, I'm like.
Now, I want to let y'all know that he did receive a delivery of something there. There's a new package of something, and it's pretty good size. I don't know if it's panels for another Connex unit. It doesn't really look like it's that big, and when they brought this Connex in, it was unloaded off the trailer, already put together.
So-
But there is some activity that's gone on in the last few days as far as him getting another delivery of material.
Was a crane out there unloading it?
I don't know if it's shipped or not.
Yeah, so, guys, I appreciate that information's been given to us. We don't know when that was ordered. We don't have any idea. The gentleman could have ordered that 6 months ago, and it's just now showing up. Days like that we're living in right now, you order something, you ain't got the foggiest clue when it's coming. And so I want to give the gentleman the benefit of the doubt. The issue before the board is there is no permit. There is no authority to do what he's doing. It needs to be removed, and we have a plan now in place to do that.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Walt Grayson. I live at 725 Aldridge Drive, Brandon,
Name is
Mississippi.
familiar. I don't.
Yeah, I know. People think I'm Burt Case.
You do a lot of traveling, don't you?
I don't know this person, I have nothing against him. He put a letter in our mailbox saying simply that he had a dream of building a house on that property. I don't have anything against anybody fulfilling their dreams, but everybody else on that street, the house we're living in is our dream too.
I understand.
And I don't know how these other folks are, but life has hit me so hard that pretty much every bit of my net worth is tied up in my house. And the economy's hit it bad enough, I don't want to see anything else hitting it.
Sure.
And I'll leave you with this word, and we have presented the petition, put that on record,
Yeah.
that we,
Right.
and what the petition simply says that we, the residents, would like to continue to have the covenants that govern this area fulfilled. That's it. And the one word of wisdom I'll leave you with is from Mark Twain. He said, the best way to get out of something is never get into it to begin with. So that's the easiest way to do it. That's just, we'd rather just not get it started and have to fix it later. So, thank you.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
If Brother Walt's gonna be dropping Mark Twain on you, I'll drop a little C.S. Lewis on you. The fastest way to correct the mistake that you've made being on the wrong path is to turn 180 degrees and go back the way you came. And so we're going back the way we came. This gentleman will be instructed that he needs to remove everything that has been brought on that property. Everything. Whether it's been delivered or it's to be delivered. Stop it before it gets there. Nothing else goes on the property until we have considered a development plan for that property that comports with both our zoning regulations and, as best we can, even though we don't enforce private covenants, right? We do not enforce private covenants. I don't know if it's been mentioned, but we do not enforce private covenants. We will make sure not to permit him to do something that we know will violate the private covenants. If we know that it would be a violation of the private covenants, we tend to not say, okay, go ahead. Okay? So that's our commitment. We'll try to get that notification out as soon as the board is
Yeah, so Mr.
allows us
Slate-
to go out
so-
and leave out here.
Yeah, so my motion is gonna be on that same point for you notifying, give them a 30-day window, and obviously we get a weather issue or something like that, take that into consideration. And then if he doesn't comply, then we move it up to justice court at that point, let them take legal action on that point. But the stop work order needs to stay in place. No further action needs to take place on the site and bringing things in or whatever. I'm with you on the delivery stuff. You can't control delivery methods these days. I
Looks
think
like some of us, has some of it been, some more work been done since the last time we were here?
Well, that's a July 12th.
These are old pictures,
I see
though.
those were the
July
old
12th
pictures.
picture. That's not a recent one.
All right,
These were
so
all
we got a
So that'd be
motion
my
by
motion,
Mr.
yeah.
Cross. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Gaines. Any further discussion? Not all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign.
All right, thank you, guys.
Free to leave. You're welcome to stay.
I was going to quote Mike Word, but I don't think. Since we're getting
Appreciate
into
y'all
quotes,
coming out.
C.S. Lewis, Mark Twain, and Mike Word.
I
That's our
guess
version.
Our next planning commission meeting will be on September the 29th at 9 a.m. And so do I need a motion to recess and
So move.
Second.
motion made by Mr. Morrison, second by Mr. Gaines. No further discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. All right.
We just go down the route, I guess, of Norman Vincent Peale with the power of positive thinking. And we just all read that as a audio book, I guess. Play that.
So now I guess we'll go call the meeting to order for the September 1st board meeting. Do I have any public comments? No public comments. We'll move to Miss Bridget.
morning.
Good morning.
This morning, we have a bid opening for the term bridge installation and bridge components. We received 2 bids. The first bid received was electronically from Key LLC. And it looks like it's all in order. I will not call it, there's 107 items on here, so we won't go through each one.
Thank you.
The second bid received is from Hemp Hill Construction. And it's in order. I recommend these be taken under advisement.
So moved.
All right, motion made by Mr. Morrison, second by Mr. Bishop. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Thank you,
you.
Ms. Bridget.
Brad, you wanna go double and nothing?
You the one keeps talking. I mean, you have to quit
can't-
talking,
I
asking
can't
questions and stuff. You prolong it.
I'm gonna make it out.
Okay. Mr. President, my first item is simply, it's a ratification item. As you recall, this is an emergency declaration. The board was contacted individually and was requested to consider this emergency declaration. We still believe that this is necessary despite the fact that the governor has entered a statewide declaration, and that is because it's not clear from the statewide declaration when it actually began. Okay, there's a reference in there to one date, but then it's dated at a later date, and it's not 100% clear. And we have activities that were ongoing in advance of the date that the emergency declaration that the governor signed was signed. And so, out of an abundance of caution, I'm asking you to ratify the declaration of local emergency that went into effect on August the 24th at 12:01 a.m. That is all related to the extraordinary flood event that we experienced across the county. So that's what I would need, is that just a motion to ratify that declaration of local emergency.
I'll make the motion to ratify. And second by Mr. Gaines. Any further discussion? I'd like to say one thing, though. I'd like to thank our law enforcement, sheriff's department, and our road department, EOC, and our county administrator, and for what they did during the flood event we had.
Great
I would
job.
like to
Great job.
specifically tell our road guys, thank you.
And they working day and night.
And they're gonna work again tonight. They've worked shifts and they work more than one shift in a
Right.
24-hour
They sure did.
period.
Great job.
And then our EOC ran, it was seamless on providing sandbags and assistance, even flying to look at the water. Or Daniel, it was mainly his district in my area that was affected, and I couldn't see where anything could have been done different or better.
All right. I made the motion and Gaines seconded. Any further discussion? If not, all,
Mike Harrison, thank you. Mike was there every hour that everybody else was there.
all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. Motion carried.
Hey, Word, well, you wasn't there, bro. Never mind. No, thank you. Word was there also.
Yeah, he was
right there.
driving a white truck.
The part that bothers me, the only thing that the negative side that bothers me on the deal is there's still a difference between District 1 and District 2. So for example, at the District 1 location, they get catfish. And we get cold ham sandwiches at the north part of the star. So I can't quite figure out, it's still favoritism. I mean, it's, I can't overcome it all.
Right sandbag location.
Hey, I can't overcome it all. Jared gets catfish and we get cold cuts from 3 days old. But it is what it is. So. I understand.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Hicks.
I can't get ahead. I understand.
Mr. President, if you'll allow,
Okay,
please, I've
all
got
right.
2 items that I wanted to touch base with the
Well,
board
it's
about.
after 10 o'clock.
These are
We can go
both
ahead now.
notifications. I'm not gonna need any formal action from you. These are informative only. And I hate it for Mr. Brad White, our executive director of MDOT, having to send us this letter. It's, you gotta believe that he does not like to sign these letters and certainly doesn't like to send them out to counties. But we are the unfortunate recipient of a letter that puts us on notice that that our federal funding for our transportation projects that are administered through MDOT, all of our federal funding is now suspended because we have not provided a complete single audit certification statement, which comes from the state auditor's office, which means that our state auditor's office has not yet finalized the 2021 Rankin County audit. So Mr. White has unfortunately been required by federal law to place us on notice that we will not have access to our federal funding until such time as he receives the final audit. We've been told that our final audit would be prepared and ready by the end of May, by the end of June, by the end of July, the end of August, which was yesterday, and now we're given to understand that it may or may not be delivered by the end of September.
I mean, what's the problem?
I don't have an answer to that question, Mr. Calhoun.
This just come up, this just happened.
We got the letter on August, it was dated August 26th. We got it on the 28th of
Wow.
or the 29th. So you needed to be
What?
advised.
I don't understand, well, I mean, you don't know either.
It's, I mean, in our last bond stuff, we were ranked by whoever it is.
Moody's,
The highest of anyone in Mississippi.
correct, A++, higher than the state itself.
And we try to be as transparent as you can be. We're too close to the capital is the problem,
Yep.
I guess. I don't know. I don't want to inflame anybody and get them upset, but we're starting to get upset.
Yes, sir. Yeah, so there's multiple issues now. When federal funding
Yeah.
has had to be placed in a suspense mode.
Especially
there's-
right now.
Yeah, there's ongoing work on federal projects that are in play here. So keep in mind, we've been successful in having the federal government provide assistance on a couple of very important transportation initiatives that you guys have identified. One being the Great Separation Project, but the other being in conjunction with that grade crossing. We qualified for a grant under the Consolidated Rail Infrastructure Safety Improvements Act, CRISI. And so there's 1.5 million from CRISI funds that have been directed to MDOT. There's 5 million in federal funding that is directed to the I-20 Connector Loop project, which we are identifying with the grade separation piece. That's 6.5 million in federal funding that is suspended, not available to the county or to those projects. There's other funding, by the way, that's out there that will be implicated because of the county not having the audit finalized. There's other federal funding that could be implicated. Not all of our federal funding, by the way, is administered through MDOT. I don't want anybody to be confused about that point, all right? So emergency funding for flooding activities, that type of thing. If it's not administered through MDOT, this does not apply. But that's not to say that the federal agency through whom it is funded won't send us a similar letter.
I guess my question would be, could you not write a letter to our state auditor in copying with the letter from Mr. White?
Yes, sir.
And to see if he can get it. He
Yes,
may not, Shad may not be aware of it.
Yes, sir.
It may be down below him, but
Absolutely.
if we could have a letter from you and
Absolutely.
your penmanship
Or
to,
make a call.
Yes, sir. Daniel, is it okay if I sign your name to
Please.
the letter? Can I
in
just-
all, in all caps, put my name on it. As a matter of fact, if you'll just get me the letter, I'll send it. I'll be glad to, because that's important.
It
Right?
is.
And I'm
It
sure,
is.
Makes no
I'm sure he's
sense.
got a lot of stuff going on that's important to him, but this is important to us. So I'll be glad to put it in writing myself. So,
Well, if we had not been, your administration, your staff on the administration side has been consistently hounding to get this done, consistent. And we're still
And I mean,
waiting.
it's every year we're
Yes,
being audited. And
This
I
is-
mean, there's,
This has been a consistent issue. I don't know if y'all
I'm
remember.
gonna make the assumption that he didn't know,
That's right.
and if there's a reason why we're being delayed or stalled, I'd like to know so we can fix it on our end.
Yep.
And let's just say it's back on us.
We'll make
But
sure that
I
we
would be
get
sure
something.
that he has something in front of him with the letter from Mr. White showing what's happening to us, because that office isn't providing us the answers with the report.
That opens one door. Keith, are you aware of, have they put anything in writing or on phone or whatever that says we will not finish your audit until the county provides this, or is there anything at all like that that we should respond to?
No, sir, it's, I know they began the audit back in January. They were done with their field work sometime in April at the latest.
Okay,
So we've been in a standby. There's nothing they're waiting on us for.
okay.
And
I didn't
it's-
think so, but I just wanted to air that.
I know the audit's in the final review stage.
Yes.
Um,
Guys, it's like everything
we're
else in state government. It's got to pass through multiple hands and multiple eyeballs for review purposes. And so some of the frontline folks have done their job and finalized, and it's the review that is being held up for whatever reason.
And
Okay?
I just don't wanna sit on it now that it's costing us money on the federal side.
Exactly. Not having access to the funding is a problem because it implicates ongoing work.
Well,
We
it
have
shuts everything
engineers
down.
right now who are working on these transportation initiatives on our behalf, and that work at the moment is subject to not being funded. All right. The second thing that I wanted to advise you guys about is your ARPA program and the upcoming application into the Mississippi Department of Environmental Quality so that we can qualify, we hope, for state matching funds as authorized by the state legislature out of the state's ARPA funding, okay? That, as of 3 days ago, we were advised that the MDEQ intended to open the portal to receive applications
Today.
as soon as today. And it may already be open now. We've been in this meeting long enough where it could actually already be open today. That the portal will remain open for a period of 30 days. They will close the portal September the 30th. Applications must be submitted between today and the 30th. And so your team is at work getting the application lined up and ready to submit. So this is simply to inform you that we have had a chance now to go through all of the project scoring system that MDEQ has designed so that it can evaluate these projects. Takes a lot of time to go through that and figure out what they're looking for and how they're going to score them. We've come up with multiple strategies that will help our ARPA program score the highest that it possibly can. There's different ways to structure your application to achieve the greatest point values. We are working through those strategies. We're not going to file, we're not going to submit anything today. More than likely, we're not going to submit anything before the 15th because it's on the 15th that I want to come to you at our next opportunity and give you an update on what your application is likely to look like. So that's the time frame. So we're going through all of the strategies. We're going through all of the permutations. What could we hope to achieve from a point score for our program? There has been no change in the opinion of the team, and I fully expect for you to authorize on the 15th the submission of all 29 of your components. Nothing is going to be left out. We don't intend to leave one off because there's no way we're going to get any points for that and we don't want it to drag down. I don't think you're going to hear that. I'm confident that all 29 of your components are gonna go to MDEQ for scoring, okay? We've done all we can do to try to ask the right questions of the MDEQ attorneys who they're working with to determine exactly what does this mean and how does that apply in a stormwater environment. A lot of what we're dealing with here, guys, is an entity called MDEQ that is not involved in stormwater. They don't get it, they don't like it, it's not in their wheelhouse. They love wastewater and drinking water and clean water. They don't know what to do so much with stormwater. And so we're having to almost figure out what they don't know and then ask questions to help them understand that they need to be thoughtful about some things, because not every project that is a wastewater treatment plant can equally be scored under their scoring system with a project that is stormwater.
Right.
You don't need core permits to do a wastewater treatment plant.
Well, since you brought up the magical word, I didn't have to say it.
I knew better. I
But
apologize.
I'm sure we've gotten our report and permit back from the Corps. So what did it say when they gave it back to us?
Yeah. There,
The answer was we didn't get one,
yeah,
right?
exactly. There is no current core permit for, let me say this. For over half of your projects, there is a permit for over half of your components. There is a permit. It's because they fall under the national permit.
So our Mill Creek permit that
No,
we
sir.
submitted
No,
back
sir.
in.
Now that
We need
you
to see
asked
the ones that-
specifically,
Ones that we do have.
yes.
Or is it easier to show the ones that we don't have?
Yeah, so there are a number of core permits that we are going to have for our projects, you know that. There's a number, we've talked about this, probably 6 total projects that are gonna need they're gonna be some implication with core on permitting. The good news is, we have really good connections with core personnel that are reviewing our components that are gonna have to go through the permit process. We have really good connections there, and we're getting good feedback and good communication. I have not always been able to say that.
So I guess by Tuesday, our next meeting, we'll have a good report from the Corps on what they said when we called them. Because I'm sure we would call them today,
In a few
or I'm
days.
sure we would call them Friday to be able to give an update on September. What's Tuesday?
Well, they might
Or
be
the
working with the
6th?
audit department.
They could be. They could be in conjunction with the auditor's office. That's right.
Or the railroad,
But
or MDOT.
could we reach out to them between now and Tuesday
Yes, sir.
to give us a report? Because now, just to show you the timeline of how good this whole situation is, we approved this project last October. Right? So I think today's September, but I'm not real sure. So here we are moving, and I agree with their plan. Just slow play the whole deal, and then Daniel will be gone. We'll have to worry about it. It's an excellent plan. But I'm going to fuss and raise Cain for the next 14 months until we get an answer from the Corps on this project, because it's absolutely ridiculous to get slow played like this. So
See, Daniel, that goes with so many. If you're dealing with the railroad, MDOT, or Corps, it's the same thing.
that's why my hair is white now.
That's the
Jerry.
reason
All right,
my-
Mr. Slay, is
that's what I
that
hear.
concludes your portion?
I'm helping you guys understand that on the 15th, our intention will be for you guys to give us the blessing and the heave-ho on an application into DEQ for matching funds. 15th.
All right, Mr. Hicks is chomping at the bit.
Hey, but before we get too far past, recognize Lance Cooper. He wasn't in here. His presence added, no matter where he was at. That is really a utility player that can also be the captain. And thank you, Lance, for being there. Every time I went somewhere, there, Lance was already there working.
With the flood.
Yes, flood.
All right. Good morning, gentlemen. Item A is authority to make an additional payment to the IRS for a first quarter of '22 deposit. After our reconciliation, we discovered an underpayment there.
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion made, Mr. Morrison, second by Mr. Gaines. Any discussion? Not, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. Motion carried.
Any questions on Tuesdays? Remember, Monday's a holiday. We'll have our meeting on Tuesday.
All right. Does Miss Caroline or Ms. Nitch, any of y'all got any comments? Or Lance, y'all got any comments? Miss Ishi?
Y'all just saw that crowd in the hall, you wanted to know what's going on. That's what it was.
All right, no additional business? Oh, Mr. Harrison.
Got one, I'm gonna try to read this because I've broken glasses and Keith printed off small. So I'd like to get the authority to surplus the milling machine that we have in, because we're getting another one. We have a potential buyer for this milling machine. I think it's gonna be around 50,000. Is that right, Keith? Will be the net proceeds that we'll get off of it. We can go ahead and surplus it now.
What's the new one gonna cost?
Sorry.
What's the new one cost?
I can't remember, 700 or something.
How long we had the old one? Not that many years, is it?
It's 4 years old. It's coming up on its buyback.
4 years old?
Yes, sir. So this is we're just surplusing it and, to bucket machinery, and then we'll get the proceeds from that.
So we'll get $50,000. What we'll get?
Yes, sir.
Well, we're gonna pay it off at 216, and Puckett will buy it back for 267 plus.
That's what I'm trying to find out.
Yes, sir.
Sound like
They'll
we're getting
cut when
50
they-
and spending 750.
Well, this one's due to come off next April anyway, and the buyback at that time is gonna be around 225, no, 185.
185.
Yeah, I
185.
understand, but when you said we're gonna get 50 for it, and we're thinking about a new one for 750.
I don't think the new one's 750. I thought it was around 485.
No, it's a bigger model. It was
Okay.
over 700.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I don't
But
have the exact total.
anyway, we'll be, if we make this acquisition, we'll be 50,000 to the good on this.
And the reason behind this is there's one coming up that we believe will be available. Otherwise, it's gonna be 12 to 18 months on replacing it.
This is the miller?
The milling machine, yes, sir.
All right, what do you need? I'm a motion.
I mean, I just need to
We
get
do
this, I need to get it added that we surplus the milling machine to bucket machinery.
I make a motion that we add this to the agenda.
Right.
I'll second it.
And I want it used a lot in District 4,
I'll get it used a lot.
in District 4.
All right, motion made by Mr. Gaines, second by myself to add this to the agenda. Any more discussion?
I have a question. Is this on state contract?
Yes, sir.
Is this the only model that's on state contract?
Yes, sir.
Like, there's not other makes, they're the only one?
Only
Well,
one.
that makes it easy, because I've had some complaints from other vendors wanting some of our business, and, you know, we seem to be one-stop
They,
shop.
well, they make Aztec, they make, a Workman and another one that's 2 German-made machines
But they're not on state contract.
they're not on state contract.
That makes it easy.
All right, any more discussion? If not, all in favor to add this to the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. All right, do I have a motion?
Motion
All right, motion, Mr. Gaines.
to approve.
To approve. Who seconded it? Jay seconded it. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign.
And we're about to, hopefully, we'll finish tonight with our night work. We still got some more road closures coming up, due to some culverts and flooding that's gotten impacted in this, and we're evaluating a couple bridges that got impacted in this, but right now they're safe for the public. But we're evaluating a couple bridges that we may have to replace, just to give y'all an update where we at on everything.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there a need to executive session?
Yes, sir, I've got one item to take the board in on executive sessions, potential litigation.
We meet Tuesday, you know.
I know.
All right.
All right.
I make a motion to discuss the need for executive session.
All right. Do I have a second? I'll second it. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, like sign.
I make a motion to go into executive session for personnel or litigation.
All right, second. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, like sign.